Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. The Polish government has accepted the legislation project which will enable the payout of an additional financial benefit for pensioners. An estimated 10 million Poles are expected to receive the benefit. The payout of 888 zloty is due to begin on May the 1st.
Emerytura plus, ten nasz program obecny, to jest pewien wyraz ogromnej wdzięczności.
Our new program, the Pensioners Benefit Emerytura Plus, is an expression of enormous gratitude. This is not a handout, as many of our opponents have said. I do not see it that way in the slightest. This, ladies and gentlemen, is something that is expected to make the pensioners' lives just a little happier. You were the ones who rebuilt Poland after World War II. Later, you survived the harsh years of the communist rule in Polish People's Republic. You had to wait in queues for basic commodities. You brought up our generation in difficult times. This is something that must be recognized and appreciated. You laid the foundation for the free and strong Poland we know today. Pensioners are also the catalyst for our current economic success, through which we are trying to give back to them as much as we can.
Emeryci są również autorami naszego dzisiejszego sukcesu.
Z tego jednorazowego dodatku wysokości...
A great number of eligible pensioners will be able to receive this one-time financial benefit worth 888 zlotys. They will receive it regardless of their regular monthly pension. We estimated that the number of eligible people will be in the region of 10 million, which will cost the state budget 10 billion and 800 million zlotys.
Od tego, jakie otrzymuje świadczenie.
The United States Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, announced today that the US will expand its decision to not support foreign NGOs engaged in abortions. The decision comes after it was revealed that NGOs associated with the Organization of the Americas, or OAS, have been funding abortion programs in Cuba, Nicaragua and Venezuela.
Mike Pompeo made it clear that the US will expand on abortion gag rule by cracking down on NGOs which fund other groups that support abortion.
Today I'm announcing further refinements to advance our efforts to protect the least amongst us. As before, we'll continue to refuse to provide assistance to foreign NGOs who perform or actively promote abortion as a method of family planning. Now, as a result of my decision today, we're also making clear we will refuse to provide assistance to foreign NGOs that give financial support to other foreign groups in the global abortion industry. In light of recent evidence of abortion-related advocacy by an organ of the Organization of American States, I directed my team to include a provision in foreign assistance agreements with the OAS that explicitly prohibits the use of funds to lobby for or against abortion. The institutions of the OAS should be focused on addressing crises in Cuba, Nicaragua, and in Venezuela, not in advancing the pro-abortion cause. The American people should rest assured that this administration and this State Department and our USAID will do all we can to safeguard U.S. taxpayer dollars and protect and respect the sanctity of life for people all around the globe.
The European Parliament passed the directive on copyright today, which is supposed to protect the rights of artists and other creators more efficiently. However, many strongly oppose the regulations as they feel the new restrictions further tighten the centralised grip of online censorship. Wojciech Koszczak has more on the new controversial EU directive.
Parlament Europejski przyjął dziś...
The European Parliament passed a directive on copyright in the digital single market today, which changes the regulations concerning uploading internet content. The directive sparked a heated debate on the internet, with many claiming that the new restrictions might bring about more censorship online. On the other hand, supporters of the directive stressed that it simply means more protection for artists and creators.
Intelektualnej.
Jestem przekonany, że żadnej cenzury nie będzie.
I'm positive that there will be no censorship. It's one of the urban myths surrounding the directive. I'm hearing of people calling it ACTA 2.0, which is absurd, and about the censorship of the internet, which I'm fairly positive is also absurd. The only thing this directive will do is civilize internet relations, or at least try to better the current situation. Our intellectual property in the internet, such as anywhere else, needs to be protected. If we use someone else's property, we need to have this person's permission, even if we sometimes have to pay for it. That's it.
I czasami muszę temu właścicielowi zapłacić. Tylko tyle.
To nie jest żadna walka o prawa autorskie, to jest cenzura.
It's not about copyright, it's just preventive censorship. The copyrights are already well protected, which we can see on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube. Quite recently we've seen that they work well after the murder of late President Adamowicz, when all gory videos were immediately removed from Facebook. It's really not about copyrights, but simply introducing censorship on the internet early on to control and limit conservatives. That's the way I see it. Unfortunately, it's been happening for some time now. An example, in 2017, videos from the Independence March in Warsaw were being massively taken down from Facebook. So if we don't think the way they want us to, the content will be removed. This will leave us with only mainstream media, and the internet won't be able to counteract that.
Czyli nieprawomyślne, tak? Nieprawomyślne. Za poparciem dyrektywy głosowało
348 MEPs voted for the directive, 274 were against, and 36 abstained. MEPs from the Law and Justice Party all voted against the directive.
Europosłowie Prawa i Sprawiedliwości.
Tensions between Lithuania and Russia are increasing as a Lithuanian court is expected to sentence dozens of former Soviet officials on Wednesday for their participation in the events of January 1991. In an attempt to stop the Lithuanian declaration of independence, Soviet troops still stationed in Lithuania attacked multiple locations in the capital city of Vilnius. They killed 14 people and injured more than 700.
In March 1990, Lithuania became the first Soviet republic to declare independence from the Soviet Union, after an economic blockade had failed to curb the desire of the Lithuanian people for independence. Soviet troops responded by launching an attack on the TV broadcast tower and sole TV station in Vilnius, attempting to stop the country from breaking away. Many of the people killed were Lithuanian civilians who had volunteered to serve as human shields in the TV station. Robertas Vaitkus, whose father Vytautas was among the dead, said the way that he felt when he read about his father's death in the newspaper the following morning was unimaginable.
The moments were terrible. I remember when I was at home sleeping, actually not sleeping because just I have no idea. So was my dad alive or dead? In the morning I woke up, I read a newspaper, there was a photo, he's dead. So the feelings were unimaginable.
Lina Skojala, the director of Eastern Europe Studies Center, stated that Lithuanian judges and prosecutors participating in the court case against the former Soviet officials can expect reprisals from Russia.
January 13 is an important case for Lithuania because the young country lost 14 lives of those who defended its freedom against the Soviet Union, and it obviously will have political implications into relationship with Russia, because we've seen already from Russia a reaction which is a very negative one. For instance, Mr. Gorbachev declined to testify in the case, so probably those who are also working directly with the case, prosecutors and etc., could have some legal consequences in terms of their future relationship with Russia as well.
In 2018, the Russian court system took the first steps in launching action against the Lithuanian judges and prosecutors who took part in the court case against the Soviet officials. The negative reaction follows a pattern of increasing revisionist attitudes on Soviet war crimes by Russian state officials in recent years.
Thank you very much for joining us here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily Weather. It's followed by the business, then it's the culture, history, and then it's the travel.
Good evening, I'm Paulina Ottersteing and welcome again to Poland Daily Weather. So the temperatures tomorrow will vary from 6 degrees in the eastern parts of the country and up to only 11 degrees around Wrocław. 10 degrees will be seen in the area of Zielona Góra, 7 degrees in the northern parts of the country, also in the southern parts around Rzeszów and Krakow. Rzeszów will see quite a bit of sun as well. Tomorrow we are expecting showers almost all over the country. This is all for tonight. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is time for Poland Daily Business Edition. Tonight we will talk about Brexit. What else? And our guest is Artur Górniewski of Lazarski University. Sir, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
So, we have the final days before Brexit, or we will have nothing that comes out of it?
Nobody knows. We have to wait till Wednesday to see what decision will be made in Westminster, in British Parliament, because on that day, on Wednesday, the Parliament will vote in so-called indicative votes which option of Brexit they want, whether more softer, or a hard Brexit without agreement. It seems like no-deal Brexit is off the table, so we will see some kind of softer version of Brexit, which is of course a cauchemar for die-hard Brexiteers. But of course it's a good music to ears for those who want to stay in Europe on some sort of platform. Probably we will see maybe Norway-style cooperation between United Kingdom and the European Union. It means UK will stay within customs union.
So the power of government to discuss the Brexit has been taken from it by Parliament.
Exactly. The Parliament on Tuesday morning at night, in the middle of night, wrestled out of Theresa May's hands the decision about the future of Brexit. It means a total catastrophe for the Prime Minister, who simply lost control over the process, now definitely.
Last time the British Parliament decided about everything was during the Cromwell time and revolution over there. So will be a king beheaded?
Probably the king or the queen won't be beheaded, and we had Brexit before during Cromwell times and or Britain leaving the church. However, we will see a dramatic turn of events soon. Why? Because we know that the European Union, Brussels, decided that if there is no conclusion to this process in London, the Brexit will have to happen on April 12th. If there will be a decision made and decision on some sort of agreement about the Brexit, then the Brexit will happen on May 22, before the parliamentary election to the European Parliament. But it might be that maybe the UK will withdraw from this process of Brexit, or they will decide to extend the Brexit for 12, 15, maybe 2 years. So, or another referendum will be organized. So everything is possible. All options are still on the table, which make this suspense even bigger and better for us viewers.
Yeah, this is very interesting, and the popcorn is being used very much, yes. But the discussion that is right now in Europe is, do we want more centralized Europe going towards one unitary or federal state with limited powers of local governments and decisive power of Brussels? Or rather, we will take power from Brussels that they extend right now over the local governments and the country's governments or member states' governments, and make it more federal, more business-oriented confederation that is very loose, that each country can pursue its own policy or the regional policies like we have in the V4 initiative. At the same time, with this disputing Europe, we have Brexit. Let's say Britain will stay within European Union, more loose connection that it is right now. How this will influence this internal European discussion?
We have now a trend toward bigger federalization or, as you said, centralization in the European Union. However, this process is not supported in such countries like Poland, Hungary or Italy now.
Well, Spain, the Vox party is very much vocal against it.
On the rise. And made a very good parliamentary outcome in December in Andalusia, and now Vox party is on the rise.
French people will vote to the European election. It's interesting. Will they choose the candidates of President Macron after
centralization, federalization is a scenario supported only by President Macron. Even the German political circles lost faith in Macron and in this process of federalization of Europe. He believes in common budget, Euro budget, one Minister of Finance. He believes in European prosecutor and in the European army, for example, which is impossible to be implemented. So now there is no good climate for centralization and federalization, and maybe we will see that United Kingdom will stay one leg in the European Union, but generally speaking, this is what happens now in United Kingdom is dangerous, first of all, for the United Kingdom, because they are losing money every week, according to Bank of England, around 800 million pounds. It's a big money. Why they are losing it? Because investors are withdrawing money or are not investing now in the United Kingdom. So it's dangerous for United Kingdom and also for the, not the devolution of the country, but for the simply end to this country called United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, because Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland can go its own way for independence.
Well, that's a bit fantasy right now, but I thought that Poland will be one of the biggest losers in during the Brexit, but it turns out that our losses from the project, from this process, may extend up to 0.5% of our GDP, while the British losses will reach 4%. And Irish 3.5%.
Of course, and now we can see that the economic growth in Poland is very solid right now. It's around over 5% GDP. In UK last year it was only something like 1.5 GDP. So we will see the difference and difficult times economically for the United Kingdom.
So we will keep our fingers crossed for the best decision of British
and we will
Parliament.
Pray for the Queen.
Pray for the Queen. God save the Queen and us.
Thank you.
Artur Górniewski, Lazarski University, was our guest tonight, and that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Good evening, I'm Paulina Ottersteing and welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Tomorrow in our country the temperatures will vary from 6 degrees in the eastern parts up to 11 degrees in Wrocław, 10 degrees in Zielona Góra, with quite a bit of showers as well, and tomorrow will be a rainy day. The most sunny will be the area of Rzeszów with 7 degrees Celsius, also 7 degrees will be seen in Krakow, 8 in Warsaw as well as in Łódź, and in Bydgoszcz 9 degrees in Poznań. Now let's check the forecast in Europe for tomorrow. So if we look at Europe, we will see 4 degrees in Helsinki with some snow, 5 degrees in Moscow. The warmest tomorrow in Europe will be 22 degrees in Lisbon, and also nice and sunny in Madrid with 19 degrees. 12 degrees will be seen in Dublin, and 13 degrees will be seen in London as well as in Paris. This is all for tonight. Thank you and see you soon.
The history of the Kamienica theater dates back to the communist era. In 1988, the Broadway director Joseph Papp visited Warsaw. It was there that he met the future director of the Teatr Kamienica and asked him, "Why do not you set up your own theater? During communism? When communism is over, set up a theater." His suggestion has not taken up for many years, but Papp had sown the seed. Emilian Kamiński warmed to the decision in 2000 and began to search for the right place. Standing in the courtyard of the tenement at Aleja Solidarności 93, the future director already knew that it was the right place to create the Kamienica Theater. The bustling walls of the pre-war building retained the memory of the splendor of old Warsaw, and subsequent stages of construction revealed more and more of its secrets. For 5 years, he collected funds and materials necessary to complete the investment. The theater construction plan was being created on a regular basis and was constantly modified until all the smallest spaces were managed. The wife of the director, Justyna Sieńczyło, and Jolanta Pachowska worked on finishing the interior of the theater and refining the smallest details. On March 27, 2009, on International Theatre Day and on the centenary of the construction of the tenement house, the grand opening of the Kamienica Theatre was held. The names of the people who contributed to the project were placed on a commemorative plaque located in the courtyard.
Ask me a question about anything and I'll answer you.
Has an English-speaking play in its repertoire?
I co się stało?
And what just happened? What just happened? Give me your opinion.
Komentować to. Dlaczego pani nie zrozumiała? Przecież jestem aktorem.
Why didn't you understand? I'm an actor. I have a diploma. I have 3 or 4 or 5 diplomas. But that's not what it's all about. You have to defend the language because it can be distorted. It's going to turn into some old sour soup. The beautiful Polish language will turn into, I'm not going to curse because I can on television, but it's the only way to describe what's going on with the language. When I listen to the radio or to a politician's speech, I don't understand what he's talking about. At least sometimes. Can't he take some lessons from a speech therapist or a teacher or an actor who can explain to him how to speak? Can't he learn how to speak on the radio? How can he convey important information or thoughts to the public at large, to potential voters, if I cannot understand a word? They should go to a doctor and get some help and learn how to speak.
Mówił wyraźnie, albo idź do kogoś, kto cię nauczy mówić. Już skończyłem z tym jadem.
If we simplify many things, then the recipients won't have that many requirements. Does it work that way? Many people don't pay attention to the language because we have small requirements.
Ale po co aktorzy? Ja mam dzieci.
Yes, I have children myself. For example, Cyprian. What do you think, have a guess, is the most common word in our conversation?
W ich rozmowie.
Cool.
What? What?
Co?
They will know what's going on after I repeat it, for example, 3 times. The teachers don't pay any attention anymore to how the children speak. And this is so simple. If I ever get a program on television, I will teach every Pole how to speak, and all I need is 1 month. It's a public service, but they have to promise that they're going to practice with me. I need an hour per day, and I will teach everyone how to speak. After that 1 month, they will speak properly, as long as they pay attention. It's very simple. Please make that kind of program. Could you do that? And I'll do it for free.
Robię to za frajer.
The former address of the building, built in 1910, was Leszno 13. Initially, it belonged to the rich Jewish leather trader Misha Roga. It was adjacent to the walls of the Warsaw Ghetto created in 1940. The former address of the building, built in 1910, was Leszno 13. Initially, it belonged to a rich Jewish leather trader, Misha Roga. It was adjacent to the walls of the Warsaw Ghetto created in 1940. The building was damaged during World War II, and partly, consequently, the fourth floor was rebuilt after 1945. Where the altar stage is now located, the remains of Aaron HaKodesh were found, along with an altar cabinet that used to store the Torah. During the construction of the basement of Warsaw, Emilian Kamiński discovered more than a century-old Villor-Bosch tiles. In the basement and what is now the restaurant were cellars which during the uprising helped transport Jews from the neighboring ghetto.
Coming back to my question, do you have English-speaking plays in your repertoire?
We tried. We had a person who speaks perfect English, Krystyna Podleska. She performed a monodrama in both English and Polish, a one-woman show. An English-speaking audience reacted just like the Polish audience, but it was an episodic event, and we don't have a need for plays in English. My friends have tried it as well, but it didn't work out because, believe it or not, there's just no audience.
Can we see your plays only in Warsaw or somewhere else as well?
We try to perform somewhere else as well, Sweden or in the United States.
It is amazing for us Poles.
No jest fajnie, Polonia jest fajnie. Ja też dużo jeździłem do Polonii, to tam spragnieni są.
It is. I used to travel a lot myself to visit Poles abroad because people seem to like that contact from the home country. We traveled to London as well, but the most important thing is that we travel a lot inside Poland, and we try to give our audiences the best and the most of our talents that we can. We try to keep things pretty organized. People complain that sometimes touring artistic groups don't put their best foot forward and give a good performance. We always try to do it the best we can. We aim to give it our best shot. It's important to keep our business alive. I have to watch over this myself, because if I don't, then my friends will give me a hard time.
Bo inaczej nieładne rzeczy mi mówią, jak nie dopilnuję czegoś.
You've mentioned the Anne of Green Gables series. This is the closest book to my heart. I used to read it as a kid. Does your spectacle give the whole story of the book?
No, śliczne przedstawienie, ślicznie to grają, bardzo dobrze odbierają.
This is a very pretty performance, and the children love it. The actors give all they've got to this performance. It's an amazing energy. I can recommend it, just like all the other performances we do, because we really put everything into it. Sometimes it's a matter of taste. You can't please everyone. Some like it more than others. On the other hand, it's important to give the audience the best you can do.
Po sklepowemu, żeby on był jak najlepszej jakości.
The Mała Kamienica Theatre is a very interesting initiative. It is very important to go to the theatre and experience it, especially as a child, and see that it's not boring at all.
Tym bardziej, że te spektakle są w dużym stopniu edukacyjne. Mamy na przykład spektakl Kulek. To jest spektakl o bezpieczeństwie małego dziecka w mieście.
One of our performances is about child safety living in the city. We do it particularly in cooperation with the tram system. Children come here and learn how to take care of themselves in a city. Over 30,000 children have seen our performances, and we're happy about that. That's a lot of children that we're reaching. We have many other such social actions going on here. The Kamienica is more than just a theater, it's public service. For instance, we have a theater for instance, we have performances for the mentally challenged. They can learn here how to act. They can learn here how to act. They have rehearsals, for example. This is a large group of folks. They've been here with us for 5 years or more now. We give them lots of attention.
Mamy tutaj też na Wigilię, w czasie Wielkanocy, mamy tu bezdomnych. Po 250 osób przychodzi tutaj i więcej. Czasem przychodzi do nas, mają takie swoich kilka godzin, z nimi jesteśmy tutaj.
During Easter, 250 homeless people come here every year, or even more. We sing Christmas carols during Christmas. We have amazing food. We give them presents. Many come here and spend the whole day with us. It's a lot of fun. And we also have a festival called Magic for children with mental problems or mental challenges. We've been doing it for over 10 years now. You can find everything on our website. So I don't want to go into it in such great detail here. I feel embarrassed patting ourselves on the back too much about it.
Tak jak pani o te ordery mnie spytała, to już zacząłem się tak wstydzić po prostu, jak dziewica w odpust.
I think when you have these deserved awards, it's worth to mention them.
No to zły adres, proszę pani.
But it's not me. It doesn't work that way with me. It's not about me. I can speak about my theater and my life. I don't do it for awards.
To niech ktoś inny powie.
But it's amazing, all of this, that it's not just a theater, but a place which connects people.
No właśnie, to jest właśnie.
Absolutely. The initiative is much wider. Theater itself is not enough. For me, that would not be enough. There has to be something more, something else that we're contributing. And then we perform a service for the community. That's why I encourage everyone to come and see us and see what we do for themselves.
Serdecznie polecam nasze skromne progi łaskawemu państwu.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Poland Daily History. Today we will be talking to our guest, Mr. Krzysztof Jabłonka, a Polish historian, about the role Poland played in the Second World War. The Poles fought with weapon in hand not only in Poland, but on multiple fronts all across Europe. With our guest, we will explore the contributions of Poland in the Second World War. Mr. Jabłonka, can you tell me what role did the Katyn massacre play in international politics?
Paradoksalnie Stalin umarł.
Paradoxically, Stalin died the very same day he signed Poland's death certificate, March 5th, 1953. An odd coincidence. However, the formation of the Polish army was haunted by the ghost of Katyn from the outset. The public did not know about Katyn yet, and the areas where the Polish officers had been buried were still hidden away from the Poles. Nevertheless, it was clear something was off, because several thousand officers were missing. That was the reason for which the army backed out of Warsaw as soon as possible. That proved to be a great decision, as that would have been impossible just a year later. The Red Cross in Geneva was tipped off and told to investigate that case. Unfortunately, the Germans played a fatal role yet again, because as soon as they heard about the Poles messaging the Red Cross organization, they decided to follow suit. Their tactics and pride would not allow them to be behind Poland, so they asked the Red Cross workers to rip the Polish request out of their books and write it again after the German one. This looked as if Poles were linking up with the Germans in a common union. This forgery only came to light due to the fact that all the pages were numbered and you could see that one of them was ripped out. This situation gave Stalin the perfect excuse. He said that since the Polish government in exile was collaborating with the Nazi regime, then the Soviet Union would break off the contacts with Poland and create their own army. Stalin was upset that his felony had been uncovered. And then, instead of supporting Poles in their struggle for the truth was actually hidden in Great Britain and partially in the United States of America. On one hand, the US apologized for the entire situation, and the Madden Congressional Commission eventually got to the truth. However, that happened when America was cloaked in the shadow of the Korean War. Therefore, everyone feared that the American prisoners of war could share the same fate. On the other hand, Great Britain never apologized for concealing the truth for making it difficult to commemorate Katyń in order not to anger Uncle Stalin. This laid a massive shadow over our relations with the UK, and that incomprehensible loyalty with a murderer remained embedded within the mind of the entire London emigration group. There are still echoes of this, though they are much quieter today. Eventually, the Soviets established their own commission, led by Nikolai Burdenko, who ironically was the perpetrator he was supposed to find. Before his death, he confided in his son and told him about the fact that he was one of the people who murdered Polish officers in Katyń. He regretted that fact and briefly added, "They were our people." His son crossed the border in West Berlin, migrated west to the Polish government in exile, and gave over his father's statement. Burdenko paid for it with his life. Whether he died from natural causes or he received a little help from the Soviet authorities, we may never know. However, the fact remains that the battle for the truth about Katyń was just as important as the battle for making it known that this atrocity happened in the first place. This struggle was eventually finalized in 1999 when the Smolensk cemetery was unveiled, having the real information provided. Despite all of that, a false piece of information managed to sneak through. Allegedly, 500 German prisoners of war were forced to dig the Polish graves and were later murdered as well, in order not to leave witnesses. In fact, there were no German prisoners. The entire operation was handled by the Soviets from beginning to end. That did not, however, make them want to conceal that truth. An unknown Soviet patriot etched out the Russian word for lie in a rock that laid there, and that was the true testimony. Stalin used the message about the Katyń massacre to his own advantage and cut all ties with the Polish government, even though Poles were warning others that the Soviets would be the ones to put the world peace in danger right after the Nazis. The Poles turned to the International Red Cross, the only institution that remained independent throughout World War II, providing humanitarian aid to both sides of the war, which was the perfect excuse to condemn the Poles and publicly claim that they were Hitler's collaborators. When the truth about Katyń was made public, that was the only time the Germans were being truthful, and they were as helpful as it was possible. They drafted a 10-man commission. 9 of them were experts from countries conquered by Germany, with the last one, Professor Neville, being a Swiss citizen. He gave the testimony in which he said that what we saw was undoubtedly a Soviet atrocity. Trees that high could not have grown like that in a matter of 2 years. Finally, by shutting down ties with Poland, the Soviet Union wanted the Allies to forsake Poland as well, and to abandon all the promises written in the Atlantic Charter made to the Polish government. Polish Prime Minister died under suspicious circumstances in a plane crash off the coast of Gibraltar. It just so happened that a Soviet agent was visiting this British Isle at the time. This suggests that this catastrophe was yet another Soviet crime, and just like that, Stalin started picking out a new pro-Soviet government consisting of fake Polish patriots, in fact traitors, with Bolesław Bierut at the helm. They in turn formed the next Polish army, where the Russians were officers. Each of these factors led to the creation of Communist Poland, a state built in opposition to the patriotic Poland. Polish patriots firmly stood with the London government in exile. They had to pay the price for that, when soon after Poland was liberated by Soviet soldiers, it was enslaved by the NKVD, who instead of fighting on the front line, fought with its own people. For instance, during a mass attack against the Germans, the NKVD shot their citizens in the back if they were either too slow or wanted to retreat. That was their role against their own nation, let alone the Polish one. The most important and also the most painful issue regarding that time is that the West had completely betrayed Poland. The United States of America atoned for their initial betrayal through the Madden Commission, which proved with utmost certainty that the Katyń massacre was of Soviet doing all along. They did so partially because they feared for their own people's safety, those who were captured in the Korean War. Great Britain unfortunately unfortunately still hasn't apologized for that. Nevertheless, it has to be said that it was thanks to Poland that General Eisenhower saw through the Soviet deception and realized that they were going to become the new threat to the world peace. Eisenhower looked at the Warsaw Uprising and the subsequent betrayal of Stalin when he did not help Poles out to his own detriment. After seeing that, the US did not demilitarize after the war, which would be a catastrophe for Europe. They left the American troops on standby. Later, they formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Those decisions saved Europe from Soviet aggression. The Soviet army was stopped whenever it encountered American forces each time until the fall of the Soviet Union, when the border was moved from the Elbe to the Bug River, which remains our eastern flank.
Armia sowiecka zatrzymała się tam, gdzie spotkała żołnierzy amerykańskich, aż do momentu rozpadu komunizmu, gdzie granica z Łaby przeniosła się na Bug, czyli naszą wschodnią flankę.
Poland was engaged in battle ever since the outbreak of the Second World War, lasting all the way until the last members of the anti-communist resistance movement was hunted down and executed in the early 60s. However, their contributions to the war effort will leave an everlasting impact on history. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. I'll see you next time on Poland Daily History.
Hello and welcome to Poland Daily Travel, where we're continuing down the royal route, starting with the famous Nowy Świat, that's New World Street in beautiful downtown Warsaw. Apart from lots of elegant shops and restaurants, there's a lot of history on Nowy Świat Street. We'll encounter the spirits of Frédéric Chopin, Joseph Conrad, and none other than General de Gaulle. And we'll also digest the mysteries of the Polish pączki. That's right, the Polish donut. This is Fat Thursday. That's a holiday in Poland, once again. And we'll be seeing how many donuts we can eat on Fat Thursday, as they call it in Poland. That's the last Thursday before Lent. That's the time when we give up various things for a period of 40 days. And one of those things I'm going to give up after this, as you will see, is pączkis. The fun continues as we go in search of the mysterious Polish palm tree. All this and more as we explore beautiful downtown Warsaw, the royal route on Nowy Świat Street. You won't want to miss this. Lots of fun in store. Poland Daily Travel, the best travel stuff about Poland you've ever seen. So stay with us. We're glad you're along for the ride.
This is my friend Artur.
Dzień dobry, nazywam się Artur, bardzo mi miło.
Mówię po polsku,
Will. Ale to, że tak powiem, tak podam rączkę. Miło poznać.
Speak a little. That little's enough. Okay. She speaks a lot. She's the one she's the instructor in the group. What's your name? Julia. This is Julia and Olivia and Mirena. Okay, well, we're making a travel program, and it's very important today for us to find out why people like pączki so much. What is it about the pączki that is so attractive to ladies like yourselves?
Have a lot of fat.
It's just sugar and a lot of fat, and that's good for your diet.
I mean, it's perfect, right? No, one day a year, I think it's okay.
Yeah, and why is this day special?
Because calories doesn't count today.
Because what?
Calories doesn't count today. So
The calories don't count today.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember that, Arthur.
I
So
will.
how many of these can we eat?
Okay, so my theory is as many. I mean, how old are you? That's the number you should.
Really?
Yeah.
So I have
My
to.
mother has told me that.
I have to eat 29.
Oh, nice.
29 whole donuts. This guy's old though. But
So that was a joke as well.
He's got to eat like 40. Yeah. And how old are you, ladies? How many? Don't tell me how old you are. Tell me how many pączkis you would have to eat.
It's my first.
It's your first. You're older than one, that's for sure. Yeah. And what about?
Mine as well, but the day's still young, right?
The day is still young? That's what I always say. Well, she's right. The day is still young, and we have many more paczkis to find and eat. I have to eat 28 more, because I had one already. I have to eat 28 more paczkis, and Arthur has to eat about 39. So this guy's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Well,
I'm going to be laughing once I finish with my 29. Okay, we'll be right back. Poland Daily Travel. It's cool. We're here. We're eating paczkis with nice ladies. Okay, this just goes to show that two dummies will stand in a line and talk real nonsense while waiting to get a donut. And we're not alone here, but I don't see a lot of guys in suits. Probably they have, the guys in suits have their paczkis delivered in timely fashion to their offices. Now, I think we're here with the pensioners and the kids who are playing hooky, and the disaffected teenagers and the soccer moms, because actually everybody in Poland is all the ladies in Poland are soccer moms, because that's the sport that all the kids play. They all play soccer. It's not like they have another sport to choose from. Maybe basketball, but they all play soccer.
Food.
Oh, there's people behind us. So, have you ever noticed when you go to the bank and you stand in the queue or the line, however you want to say it, and as soon as you get in the line, nobody comes behind you? You ever notice that?
Oh, you were...
I'm talking... The heck is... Hey, how many fingers am I holding up?
Well, it depends in which moment I should start counting.
Oh, right. Oh, come here.
Dzień dobry.
Come here. Say hello. We're recording.
Hello.
Say hello. What's up? How are you?
You know what? You had to call me because I have a very important mission and I need
Oh, it's fantastic.
a letter, how do you call it, référence.
From me?
Yes. Do you agree? Was I
I will
good
give
enough?
I will give you a letter of reference. But
Do
how
you agree?
How do we
Was
get
I good enough?
I would love to. You are wonderful, Sophie. You're one of my favorite people. How do I
So, now if that was late evening program, there would be a short line in here.
Give me your number. Hang on, I will write it down.
Maybe give me your number.
Okay, I'll give you my number.
Okay.
If you're going to be that way, I'll give you my number.
Okay.
Stand in
You
line
never
to
know,
Pączki
folks. You can be
place.
standing in line, waiting for a paczki, and something important will happen. This is an important mission that Sophie's on, and we're also on we are filming right now.
Oh,
You're going to be on TV.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think I just told her my phone number?
5 what? Great. Thank you.
I'd be very happy to do that. That was Sophie. We do actually know each other. Very nice lady, and very nice perfume. She's French, by the way. They know a thing or two about perfume. At any rate, you see, you stand around, you wait for a paczki, exciting things will happen, right, Arthur?
No, I just saw a lady coming to you, asking you for your phone number.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's stand in here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some guys, and she smelled nice too.
Well, you just spread the news that you are 29, so people come over and want your phone number. So this is how it works.
I would have thought that would be obvious.
Now you didn't need the Oplas guy standing in here with the information.
Oh, great Scott.
Can you hear the Spanish music in the distance from Frida Restaurant?
I love Spanish music.
It's a Spanish place, and then provide you some
yeah.
music. So very international place, isn't it?
It's very international. We have the Restauratia Frida across the street, etc., etc. At any rate, Poland Daily Travel. We're on the hunt for paczkis. Anything's possible, including
It was smoke.
Some
it was
people,
Matrix,
some people, Some people like liquid punch.
There was a bullet coming in here. There was
That
a
guy-
shell.
that guy-
2-ton shell, you know, the one that least prudential. It just went by us.
Yeah, it was like he was like Keanu Reeves. He just, whoa, man. It was like, yeah. No, I think he had his paczkis in the blender.
We put everything
and he
in this
drank
paczki.
them. He drank them. Yeah. He was with vodka paczkis. Okay, Poland Daily Travel. We'll be right back in the paczki line. We promised paczkis. We're going to show you what they're like. We're going to taste them. We're going to make you drool at home with anticipation. Okay, Poland Daily Travel.